Welcome back to the Winning Agenda's coverage of online Jinteki.net matches. My name's Jesse Marshall from the Winning Agenda, and I'm here with some more games with my Gagarin Midrange deck. Apologies to those of you who called me out on my pronunciation of Gagarin in the past. I'm sorry to anyone that I offended, and it will now be rectified from now on, I promise you. This hand is... we're playing against our good friend, the Big Bad Wolf, as well. As you probably noticed in the opening screen there, he had helpfully set up the game for me. This hand is reasonable to start with because we've got Sea Sauce and Scorch. That's always fine. NAPD, we can rush out early. Ash will help us to do that. But there is no economy, which is not really going to feed into the Sea Sauce Scorch, although Caduceus is as close as you can get to economy within a 5-card hand, whilst also being iced to cover our centrals. So I think it's a reasonably good hand. It's not perfect, but it's definitely not terrible. Double Caduceus is actually really, really nice. So we can HQ, R&D, and draw a card. And win the turn. So hopefully we can res those Caduceus, and he can... got some inane banter from the Big Bad Wolf there. And he can run through those quite a bit and give us a bit of money. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is he, I guess, runs, beats some of the traces using a Magnum Opus, and we don't really get anything out of the Caduceus. But that's not too bad. Okay, so Spiderweb is okay, but we really need a bit more economy to be looking to score agendas, or an Oaktown. Oaktown would be really, really nice right now. So you have to draw up and play that Magnum Opus next turn. So if we can... we'll draw, just see what we can find. Okay, so double Scorch Death is going to be really good for murdering the Big Bad Wolf at some point. So we'll set up that scoring server so that it's there once we do either draw an agenda or get to a point with our economy where NAPD is easily scoreable without putting us too far behind. 5 credits is also an okay place if he's going to start poking around HQ, accidentally hits that snare. We can afford to play the snare and then gain 2 credits the next turn and still play 1 Scorched Earth. And by play the snare, I mean pay the trigger cost. But I somehow don't think he's going to be doing this turn. Okay, so we've got some sort of Bagbiter combo. That might have been what that spam at the beginning of the game from the Big Bad Wolf was. Hope your bags are all safe somewhere because I need to get chomping. Yes, so he's going to be chomping on our bags. Biting them, if you will. Corporate Town obviously is an answer to Bagbiter, but so is just not doing anything at all, because Bagbiter is not terribly effective. And if it does get to the point where it becomes effective due to his Magnum Opus and draw engine, whatever his draw engine turns out to be, we can always Sea Sauce and trash it and force him to lose a few cards and get us back to a point where we can Scorched Earth with our other Sea Sauce or shuffle that Sea Sauce back in. In order to do that, however, we're going to need to get ahead on credits, and Hedge Fund is going to help us to do that. 1, 2... I think we might just put the Corporate Town out there because we don't want to lose any of these cards. And if he really wants to spend 6 credits trashing Corporate Town at this point, that's absolutely fine. If we do let this go on too long, obviously Magnum Opus is the sort of card that's going to be able to go over the top of any corp economy. So we do need to be putting consistent pressure on him to be spending his clicks, not only spending his credits running through our ice, but also spending his clicks running and therefore not using Magnum Opus. And that is the perfect draw. So I said earlier that Oaktown was going to be very good if we could draw it. And now we have drawn it. So that's not only going to turn on our economy and the pressure that I was just talking about, which is making him run. It's also going to be fuel for Corporate Town and Archers later on, which is what's going to fuel the engine of the Archers to protect our remote servers against icebreakers that presumably he's eventually going to play some of. So he's just going big economy at this stage. Not sure what he's going to be building up to. But I think at this point, spending the extra click... It's an unfortunate draw, because if we do spend the extra click just gaining some more credits off the Oak Town, which I sort of want to do, and then score it after our third click, we're going to have to pitch one of these cards, and I don't really want to pitch any of them. Might just have to bite the bullet, I think, and install the NAPD this turn. So we're demanding a breaker for the spider web if he wants to try and get in there. But if we, as I said, if we let him go on too many turns just building up credits, the magnum opus is going to allow him to go over the top of the ash trace, even once he's installed the icebreaker and broken the spider web. That's not something we want. Could have blown up his Bagbiter there, but really doesn't seem like that's going to put us very far ahead at all. I think playing out the Jackson here. See, reshaping our hand, yeah, not terribly important. I think we've got a lot of the tools that we need in hand at this point. So I think if we just sort of go 1, 2... I mean, obviously the more advancement counters you put into an agenda when you leave it on the board for another turn, the worse it is for you if they do manage to steal it. And again, we don't want to be discarding any of these cards. I think 2 is the right number. We don't want to be using the Jackson this turn because we don't want to be pitching those cards. If he doesn't run the Jackson or this server, we can score that NAPD contract next turn. Then the following turn, we can use our Jackson on click 1, which gives us the maximum amount of clicks to use what we draw. So our opponent has just drawn 4 in response to our play of playing out of advancing an agenda in a scorer. So I'm not in a server rather. So I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on here. Possibly some sort of one turn access a lot of things combo. I can only imagine what the Big Bad Wolf is up to. So abandoning that Jackson plan for the moment, considering we've now drawn another agenda and it's a Project Atlas which we can actually score next turn. I think we might just try and threaten to score out. Spending 4 clicks drawing 4 cards just so you can hold them in hand with Bagbiter is not in and of itself a particularly powerful thing to be doing. So I wonder what the Big Bad Wolf is up to here. So he's drawn 2 cards. He's gaining 2 with Magnum Opus. So we're going to be able to go to 6 points with the public support in hand. So it's going to be quite expensive for him to now come in and trash this public support. But then again, we are quite low on credits as well. So we can pitch the NAPD for now, I think. And after he spent quite a few turns drawing up, it's for the Faust, I see. So the question is it worth 2 points to just kill the Bagbiter and reduce him back to 5 cards? So it'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards. But then he gets to just run next turn if he wants to and spend a lot of them. So, look, I mean, what's Faust doing really at this point? It's getting him through our stuff not particularly efficiently. I'm not terribly worried about it. So we can play out the public support. That's a threat. It's threatening to win us the game, and it's going to cost him a chunk of credits to get rid of. But the capital investors in a new remote, so we can start utilizing that next turn. Now, We don't want to use the capital investors now because we're not going to net anything off it, and it's an easy 3 credits for him to go and trash it. But face down, it's very unlikely he's going to run it. The options are we can play out the snare, which we would be able to use the snare and res either the public support or the capital investors. That's not great because we'd realistically want to be doing both. We pretty much want to res public support at the end of our opponent's next turn. And then we want to be able to use capital investors if we've used the snare to be able to get up to the credit range to be able to use Scorched Earth. So getting a credit is also not great because 7's not a particularly relevant number at this point, but I think it's better than our other options. Well, I guess 7 is relevant in terms of resing a couple of ice if that's something that we want to do. I think we do want to res the Spiderweb. It's taxing 3 cards. I mean, that's 3 clicks that our opponent used earlier on, unless there's a Parasite around, but there's not. So that's okay. I think at some point we're going to be resing that Spiderweb anyway, and it's not particularly damaging to our ongoing economy to do it now as opposed to later, seeing as we only need to invest 2 in that capital investors. And we'd think that he's probably going to continue here. Which means it's reasonably likely that we're going to be losing that public support. Okay, so he's trashed 3 cards. I think, given that we've got a 0 link runner, we probably just want to... Spending our 2 credits to milk that extra bit out of him is probably worth it. We can... is it a snare? Yes, it is. So we'll res the Ash and we'll trace. Because whilst he is significantly ahead in the credit race at the moment, I think now that he is under so much pressure to be running, even though he's got Faust, he's going to have to be spending his resources on things like Ash, things like trashing our assets, because we can threaten to win using public support. That we can then bleed him down to the point where we can actually get the economic advantage again and scorch him out, hopefully. So we've initiated the trace at strength 4. And at some point, unless he develops a better way of drawing cards to fuel his Faust, he's not going to be gaining any credits at all if he's going to be making 1 or 2 runs a turn past our ice, which all has multiple subroutines. So he spent 4 credits, going down to 12. And if he wants to get rid of that Ash, it's going to cost him another 3 plus 5 to get... Well, 4 plus 5 to get rid of the public support. So it's a big tax. So it looks like Gagarin is not implemented. So -2... Gagarin isn't implemented, apparently. You were on 12. Right. Is that yeah. Yeah, so we've taken our opponent. So now -1 to access our capital investors. So that's unfortunate that that's a capital investors that he's running. But he's going to go down to 0 credits. He's chosen not to trash it. Very interesting choice. Ah, because he's got Bagbiter, of course. Can't afford to go down to 0. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The old Bagbiter. So we can sort of turn the screws here using Archer. No, we're 1 click short of being able to do that. That's a little frustrating. So this is where having that extra credit to be able to res the capital investors without spending a click would be nice. He's probably going to go after the capital investors anyway. So we don't really gain that much by spending a click rezzing it, other than that if he doesn't go after it, we get more off it next turn. But I think that's quite unlikely. So we can either draw 2 with Jackson and see what we can find, if we can find another small ice to put in front of it. But then, you know, his Faust is going to get him through anyway. Or we can put the archer there and hope that he doesn't run, and then gain a couple more, so that's a more realistic threat. So I think that's what we'll do. 1, 2, 3. So who knows what that could be from his perspective. Let him go. So yeah, if we lose the capital investors, that wouldn't be great. I think it must be a full moon, because he's definitely not using his best manners there. How many cards have he got in grip? 6. Yeah, look, I don't think rezzing Bagbiter at this point... rezzing Corporate Town to kill the Bagbiter at this point is worth it, given that we're so far behind on economy. So now we can fight his Magnum Opus with our own Magnum Opus, but unfortunately our relative lack of clicks is probably going to leave us behind. However, our 6 points to those 0 points is very, very helpful. He's going to have to spend a few turns building back up to the point where he can afford to make runs without losing all of his credits, and therefore all the cards from his hand. So we'll see if he goes after the capital investors this turn. No. So how many cards does it take for him to get past the archer? 2 to pump. Is that correct? Yeah, 2 to pump, and then 3 to break the relevant subroutines. So 5 cards. And then another card, a 6th card, if he wants to deny us the credits. So at this point, we're pretty happy to just sort of gain credits. Yeah, I think like we could go for something like playing out the snare, but it's really just not worth it. Go to the Global Food Initiative. I don't think we're going to be scoring that anytime soon. Yeah, it's not worth it as opposed to the benefit we're getting from the capital investors. It's allowing us to keep up reasonably well with his credit gain. Yeah, I mean, now we can just use that corporate town, and he's going to run out of his card resources before he can really do much with it. Okay, so he's going to have a big turn next turn, but not really sure what that's going to do for him. So now's, oh look, it might be a reasonable time. I mean, we can cover R&D with another ice to just tax more cards, because he's going to have to just be pitching all those cards to the Faust just to get them out of his hand, to get some use out of them. So I mean, I don't really think that's worth it, because we just want to leverage our resources as much as possible this turn, I think. So 1, 2 on the capital investors, and then I think getting the Ash down in preparation. Possibly trying to draw that dummy run into server 1 and make him use one of his clicks there will be good this turn. And if we can waste some of his credits, we're very close now in terms of getting close to be able to scorch him. Or to trace him, rather. And then hopefully finish him off. Indexing. Jackson Howard's pretty good against indexing. We'll see if he's going to break this Caduceus. I mean, I dare say he will. It may not have been the best thing in the world to res there, but if he is going to just go nuts with these 7 clicks, we don't really want to be giving him free access. If he wants to run R&D 7 times, he can discard 14 cards to do it. Or rather more, yeah, 14 cards just to end the run, but we'll get our credits back unless he wants to be also spending some of his money, which I highly doubt he will. So if he does this multiple times and neglects to break the credit subroutine, then that's going to put us in a position where we are going to be able to seesaw him, which doesn't seem like a sustainable sort of play for him. But I think he's in a bit of a tough spot now with only 3 cards left in the stack. He's got to get rid of 10 of those cards from his hand. So if he does go in for more runs, it's highly possible that he's actually going to break that credit subroutine. Let's see. See what happens here. So we've got the Jackson that we can use, but I don't know whether there's even an agenda on top. Don't know what the agenda is. So we've got 4 agendas out of the game, meaning there's 5 left in the deck. He's seen 5 cards. Odds are he's seen 1. The question is, do we want to shuffle trashed Diesel to add 2 strength? Don't you have to break as well? Yeah, only... Yes. There we go. So we'll fire the Trace. This is an interesting deck that our opponents play. I'm not sure how much Clot's doing for him. The Bagbiter Faust combo is kind of nice, but I feel like sort of running out of gas. Even if you have a levy the second time, you're still, I think, going to run out of gas. Maybe multiple levies. Who knows? Who knows? But putting yourself back down to 5 cards and losing 5 creds seems like a pretty big tempo hit for this sort of deck. Anyway, back to our decision, which is, do we pop this Jackson? We're going to put 2 more agendas back into the deck if we do that, unless we want to leave 4 points in archives, which I don't really want to do. And we're assuming that there was 1 on top for him to find. Now, he's probably, if he's smart, going to run archives anyway after this. So assuming that there was an agenda on top, we're going to be giving him that agenda, and then we're still going to have to shuffle these other agendas back in later. So I think rather than doing that, I'm just going to chuck the public support and the agendas back in now and give him a random access. And if it's not an agenda now, we're not going to have to reshuffle, and he's sort of going to be stuck with that non-agenda card on top. So it's pad campaign, at least that's putting him down on clicks. So we're now in the zone where we're killing him next turn with meat damage, which is good. Being 6 credits ahead against a 0 link runner. Okay, so running HQ, I mean, 4 clicks left. Do we want to spend 3 credits when we're already in a winning position? I think we do. He's got 4 clicks left, even if he hits the snare. It's not going to be great for us because we're just hitting cards that he's going to be discarding anyway, and he's got plenty of clicks and creds to remove the tag. And there's always the chance that he's going to just let us have the credits anyway, which he's doing. Which is nice. So we're back in the same economic position we were, but we now have a res piece of ice that's taxing some of his cards out. And even though they're dead cards at this point, it's still nicer to have the ice than not. And it means that in the future, if he's going to run through it and continue to not break the credit subroutine, he's going to put us further and further ahead rather than just getting a free access. Righto. Cool, I guess. Notoriety. A couple of points, and now another run, and presumably it's going to be a trash on this Ash, which is going to really put us into the range of being able to kill him well and truly. So it's the last click. Spinning up all of his cards that he needs to, except one. So he's done a good job of that. Calculated that all very carefully. Well, sort of very carefully, missed out by one, but that's all right. And giving us those extra 3 credits, not the biggest deal, given that we're so far ahead now. So again, Scorched Earth for, we can afford to do it for 10. We can trace 13. No, we don't need to. Let's do this properly. So we've got 0 link and 9 credits. It's starting at 3. Why tag you? That's a good question. So we'll add 7 to it. Just in case you trash the corporate town, I can still kill the Bagbiter next time around. And then we play Scorched Earth and Scorched Earth again. So that's the game. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I'm not sure, as a new brew from the Big Bad Wolf, I'm not sure how well it worked in this particular game. It's definitely got some interesting shenanigans going on. So we'll be back with more Gagarin in a moment. He meant to make his eye to avoid Jackson. Yes. Yes, I believe you would have. Sorry about that. Please make sure you tune in for the next video. We'll have matchup of Gagarin against another mystery deck. Hopefully something a little bit more tier 1 or at least tier 2 than this one. But hopefully you've at least seen what the deck is doing in a little bit more depth and have continued to learn about what it is trying to do. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Make sure you check out The Winning Agenda at thewinningagenda.com. And if you would like to support us, we appreciate all of the support of our Patreon supporters. You can head over to patreon.com and search for The Winning Agenda and help support us to make more content like this. Thanks a lot, guys.